Glory to Jesus Christ. Today is Friday, March 31st, the 33rd day of the fast. Just one more full week of the fast left before we hit Lazarus Saturday. And today, March 31st, is the repose of St. Innocent of Alaska. So through his prayers, may the Lord have mercy on us. Yesterday we heard from St. Cyril in his 18th homily talking about some references in the Old Testament from Daniel, from Isaiah, from Ezekiel about the resurrection of the dead, and he'll continue with some of those today. So St. Cyril writes, "Many scriptures there are which testify of the resurrection of the dead, for there are many other sayings on this matter. But now, by way of remembrance only, we will make a passing mention of the raising of Lazarus on the fourth day, and just allude, because of the shortness of the time, to the widow's son also who was raised. And merely for the sake of reminding you, let me mention the ruler of the synagogue's daughter, and the rending of the rocks, and how there arose many bodies of the saints which slept, Matthew 27:52, their graves having been opened. But specially be it remembered that Christ has been raised from the dead. I speak but in passing of Elijah and the widow's son of whom he raised, of Elisha also, who raised the dead twice, once in his lifetime and once after his death. For when alive he wrought the resurrection by means of his own soul, but that not the souls only of the just might be honored, but that it might be believed that in the bodies also of the just there lies a power. The corpse which was cast into the sepulchre of Elisha, when it touched the dead body of the prophet, was quickened, and the dead body of the prophet did the work of the soul, and that which was dead and buried gave life to the dead. And though it gave life, yet continued itself among the dead. Wherefore, lest if Elisha should rise again, the work should be ascribed to his soul alone, and to show that even though the soul is not present, a virtue resides in the body of the saints, because of the righteous soul which has for so many years dwelt in it, and used it as its minister. Let us not foolishly disbelieve as though this thing had not happened. For if handkerchiefs and aprons, which are from without, touching the bodies of the deceased, raised up the sick, how much more should the very body of the prophets raise the dead?" With respect to these instances, we might say much, rehearsing in detail the marvelous circumstances of each event. But as you have been already wearied both by the superposed fast of the preparation and by the watchings, let what has been cursorily spoken concerning them suffice for a while. These words having been as it were sown thinly, that you receiving the seed like richest ground, may in bearing fruit increase them. But be it remembered that the apostles also raised the dead. Peter raised Tabitha in Joppa, and Paul raised Eutychius in Troas, and thus did all the other apostles, even though the wonders wrought by each have not all been written. Further, remember all the sayings in the first epistle to the Corinthians, which Paul wrote against them who said, "How are the dead raised, and with what manner of body did they come?" And how he says, "For if the dead rise not, then is not Christ raised." And how he called them fools, who believed not. And remember the whole of his teaching there concerning the resurrection of the dead, and how he wrote to the Thessalonians, "But we would not have you to be ignorant, brethren, concerning them which are asleep, that you sorrow not, even as the rest which have no hope." And all that follows, but chiefly that, "And the dead in Christ shall rise first," from 1 Thessalonians 4:16. And as he quotes there from 1 Thessalonians, this is the epistle that we read at all Orthodox funerals. Glory to Jesus Christ.